Hello, 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 you guys. I am so excited this evening to have with me Mrs. Michelle Stimpson. And you guys, if you don't know her by now, you must catch up because she is just fabulous. You'll see, you'll see. She is a best-selling author, a speaker, an educator, plus more, and just an outstanding person. And I think the thing that stands out to me most about you is your genuine and kind heart. You are so down to earth. Um, I met you at the National Black Book Festival. I want to
Yeah.
say 2016 because it's been some years since I've
Mhm.
been. And
Yeah.
I was a new author. I had never been to a book signing in my life. And you and is it your cousin Cassandra?
She's a co-author friend of mine. Yes.
Wow, came to my table and bought a book. And at the time, I was just so elated that someone had bought my book. I was just overjoyed. And then to find out who you were, I was blown away because you were just so down to earth. And I think
Oh.
people are afraid, sometimes to approach, big name authors, but you came to me and I'll never forget that. It meant everything to me. So please, how are you doing, lovely lady?
Oh, thank you so much. I am well and just glad to be here. Thanks for the invite. Glad to be on one of your very first events and just
Yes.
honored. Thank you so much for asking me. I appreciate it.
Oh, I just couldn't have had it any other way. I just adore you. I really do. So you are the founder, and let me get this right, of the Warrior Wives Club.
Yes, ma'am, I am.
We are definitely going to talk about that later
Yes.
because I think what you do with that is so important.
Thank you.
But
God.
you've written many books, and you've helped countless people. You mentor people, you educate, you give advice, and even praying. You even pray with people.
Right, right.
You know what? Thank you
That's
for giving so
awesome.
much of yourself. And I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about who you are.
Okay, well, thanks again. My name is Michelle Stimpson, and I am a mom and a wife and a Gigi.
That's the most important job.
Right, like that's such an honor.
Yes.
My grandmother recently passed in December, so at one
Mm,
point we had five generations alive at once, and so
wow.
it's just so now my grandmother's gone and my mother is gone, and so
Oh,
now I'm the first in this line, and so it's just an honor to
yes.
be a Gigi and to be in a position to pass down those lessons
Yes.
one generation to the next. So that's definitely one of my newest roles. Aside from that, I am an author, as you said. I know I've written 50 books.
Wow.
I know it sounds cliche to say I lost count, but I
Yes.
truly have because like
I
it
did
takes a
too. I
minute.
was trying to count. I couldn't.
Well, so I did not go on Amazon to try to figure out, what all my books are, but then I have a couple that I haven't published yet, and then I have some that are like still with the publisher, but I'm trying to get the rights back, and so it's kind of hard
Wow.
to know what's what right now. But 50 or so books, and then about 50 short stories as well. So
Oh,
God is just good. I
man.
just love writing and reading, and I'm probably reading three books right now. So
I don't
it's
even know how you find the time.
I listen to a lot of audiobooks. I
Ah,
do because I in 2017 when my daughter was gone, my kids are all gone,
mm,
and I like writing, but I've been doing, as you said, a lot more kind of co-authoring and mentoring, and so I haven't been pushing out as many books as I usually do, and
right.
kind of having more time in my life. I've always done consulting on the side with education because that's my training. I have a master's in education, that kind of thing. So one of the companies that I worked for
Uh-huh.
years and years and years part time as I was writing had a grant position come open. So it's
Wow.
a 2-year grant job, and I'm still trying to kind of think, do I want to continue to work? I don't know, full time, because writing is full
Right.
time in a
Oh,
way.
yes.
So
Wow.
anyway, it's about a 45-minute to an hour and 15-minute commute every one way
Oh,
every day. So
oh gosh.
that affords me lots of opportunities for audiobooks.
Yes. Oh my goodness. You're right. Oh boy, do we know that traffic here in the DFW area.
Right, right. There is definitely traffic, and so you just listen
Wow.
and you learn. So.
Well, you know that listening to audiobooks definitely does, it kills the time, but also it really is enlightening. I definitely want to have my books on audiobook. It's a venture I haven't taken. You also you have books on audiobooks as well?
I do. My first books that came out were with major publishers, so they actually, produced them and all that. I didn't even know my first book was on audio. People kept asking me, and I was like,
Huh.
"No." And somebody's like, "Yes, it is." I was like, "It is. Let me go online." I didn't even know. Like they didn't
Wow.
even ask me if I wanted to be the narrator. Not that I would have, but
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, I do have an audio book. Thank you very much." But the funny thing is, I have never actually listened to those books because
Really?
I don't feel like it's gonna be right. I feel like they're not
Yeah.
gonna say it exactly the way I would have said it. And so I have never, it's kind of like when actresses say they don't watch themselves on film. I can't.
Yes. Oh,
Um,
wow. That's
I did
something
have a
else.
couple others come out with ACX that I kind of had to oversee that.
Yeah.
So ACX is another opportunity,
Hmm.
Cortina, to look at. ACX is owned by Amazon, and you can kind of pitch your
Oh.
idea to some voice talent, and then if somebody wants to hook up with you, then they do all of the splitting of the income and all of that kind of stuff. It's a neat little project.
Really? You know, I'm writing that down. And for all the
Yeah.
listeners who are aspiring authors or already have a book out, that's wonderful to know.
Yeah,
Wow.
Joy Massenberg is one of the voice talents on there. She did my Mama B book, the
Oh,
first book, and she's kind of, well, I picked her. Well, we kind of picked each other.
yeah.
She has a nice deep Southern accent that she can pull off, and so yeah, there's some
Neat.
good voice talent on there.
Oh boy, my gosh, there's just so many avenues to go.
Hmm.
It's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that with us, because
Yes.
we get so lost, especially authors get lost because there's so much almost information overload as to things
Yeah.
that we can do
Too
to
much.
promote and market, and sometimes it's so overwhelming that you're just like, oh, you know what? Even that can be discouraging. It used to be discouraging not finding the information.
Mhm.
Now it's so much you just don't even know,
Yeah. And
what
there's
to
just a lot of
do.
scams out there too. A
Absolutely.
lot of scamming and a lot of taking advantage of people who, are on information overload. And I used to think at one point that, everybody should just, if you didn't really want to go with a major publisher, to go ahead and publish your own book. And I don't think
Mhm.
that's a bad option by any means. But I think I really underestimated the learning curve.
Ah, yeah.
And so I used to be kind of anti vanity publishers, anti middleman publishers, but
Yes.
um, because of the overwhelming amount of information, I don't think
Yeah.
it's a bad thing anymore like I used to. It just
Mhm.
depends on how much time and energy you want to put into learning,
Yes.
not necessarily how to do everything, but the order in which to do everything. Because you can find everything you need free on
Yeah.
YouTube and
Mhm.
on the internet, but do you know the order? Like if you do this before you do that, like now you got to go back
Right.
and fix that, all that kind of stuff.
Oh gosh. Oh, I know what you're talking about. I just tried to do it on my own because at first I didn't know what to do. And because I was overwhelmed, I thought, well, let me try to do my own ISBN numbers. Let me try to do, and I learned it all on my own, but it's taken me pretty much 5 years to finally
Right.
kind of figure out, oh, I think I kind of know what to do.
Yeah.
And, had I gone with one of those, it does cut the time, and like you said, everything is pretty streamlined. They know exactly. So,
Yeah.
it's good and bad. There are pros and cons to both.
Definitely.
And yeah, that's wonderful to know though. Sometimes we don't have the time for that. I know I didn't. I just
Right.
at the time no money. So I just thought, I'll just try to do it myself. And
Hmm.
now I'm going back fixing some of those things that I should have let somebody do originally.
Yeah, I think we all live and learn, and the
Yeah.
funny thing is, as soon as you learn something, it's going to change. I just got an email from England Spark that their prices are about to
I
change. So
saw
it's like,
that.
okay, do I really
Yes.
want to? I mean, there's some things about England Spark that I like. Then there's some things I don't like. So sometimes the
Mm.
quality of the print is different on different publishers. So there's all
Ah.
kinds of interesting stuff that
Oh,
goes
I'm telling you, my goodness, it could just be a whole subject on that
right,
because it's just
right.
it's a lot to know. But yeah,
Yeah.
you sharing the route you've gone helps because you've gone through it. Kind of what's good, what's bad out there. So that your mentoring is just outstanding for
Thank you.
people who really need to know.
Right. I'll try to help more
Oh,
people.
oh, thank you. Now take us back for a minute
Mhm.
because we see all that you've done. It just seems like you've had this big imagination. But
Okay.
tell us, what were you like growing up? Has this always been a part of you? What were you like, as a child?
Well, my mother said that I always had my nose in a book, and I do remember reading a lot and just reading everything I could get my hands on. Like I remember reading encyclopedias. My mother was a
Wow.
nurse, and so she had these medical encyclopedias in her room.
Wow.
And so there's all kinds of diseases and gross stuff and pictures of gross things.
Yes.
So
And you
I
you
would just be
learned them
reading
already.
about stuff that really no 8-year-old needs to be reading
Right.
about. Right. Like I
Wow.
know way too much, right? But just loving words and
Mm.
writing stuff. And I remember my first book that I wrote, I was in the 8th grade. No, let me
Huh.
back up. I started off by writing plays in the 6th grade. We had a talent show every 6 weeks, and so I made a play called Big Sisters and Little Sisters, and it was every 6 weeks we had a play, and if you were in my play, like you had to be serious, like you had to rehearse with me on your recess
Wow.
because
Wow.
that's what we had to do. And this is before I had access to any type of a copy machine. So I would
Wow.
sit there and print out everybody's script by hand on paper so that everybody had the same words. And I mean, like,
Yeah.
that's just how it went down.
In the
And so
sixth grade.
in the 6th grade, I was not even doing homework, I'm sure. Sitting up there
Goodness.
writing these scripts out for like the 7 people that are in the play. And this thing is like 6 pages long. Each single person has to have their own. I didn't even know there were copy machines. I think my mother one day saw me doing it and she was like, "What is that?" I was like, "I'm making copies for all the people." She was like, "Well, there are such things. There's a copy machine at my job. I can
Wow.
take it up there." So she finally did. But yeah, I was dedicated and I expected my cast to be dedicated as well.
Wow.
And I had one boy, I had to fire him because he wanted to play during recess.
Oh
No,
no. Heaven forbid during race.
right? I was like, you're gonna be in my play. You're gonna have to give up your recess. And so
Wow.
that was the beginning, I think, of the creative outlets. And then
Huh.
I wrote my first, I guess it would be probably a short story at this point in 8th grade. It was called The Bratty Bunch. And it was about kind of like the Brady Bunch, where you had this, blended family, except I think the main character was 14 and she liked her older brother. He
Huh.
was like 18. So that was
Wow.
not good in the family.
No.
Right. And then
But
from
an
there, I
interesting
just kept
concept.
writing and kept writing. I think I was
Huh.
23 or 24 when I decided to finally write a novel. And I got pretty
God.
far with it, but I just didn't finish it. I was teaching,
Mhm.
and by that point, I had my own kids and my own family and my own house, and it was just like I can't do all this at once.
Right.
And I wrote my first novel in 2001, so it was probably 5 or 6 years later. I had decided I wanted to write a book before I turned 30,
Wow.
and so I didn't think I had it in me, but at that point I had been writing all these plays and I had all these journals. I've been journaling since I was 12. And so I
Yes,
took
I
a look at
saw
my journals
that.
one day and I had probably 300 or 400 pages, probably even more than that, worth of journaling by hand. And I
My
thought, if I could do
gosh.
that, I mean, I got it
Right.
500 pages right there. If I can do that, surely I can write 300 pages. And so it was just having those journals in front of me as a visual representation of what I could do
Mm.
kind of informed what I ended up doing, which was writing a book. And I really thought I was going to write one novel. I just thought, well,
Right.
you just write a book. And I'm like, that was going to be my thing. Like I wrote a book.
Yes.
And then that was in 2004 that it came out. And then my publisher called me, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 months later and said, okay, so, are you ready to write the next book? And I was like, there's another book? I didn't
Right.
write another book. She was
Oh
like,
my
well, yeah, the
God.
book has done well, Michelle. You need to write another book. I was like, oh, I didn't, like, it just didn't cross my mind that I was
Right.
going to write all these books.
Wow.
So
Wow.
God is good. He has a plan. Had I known all that, I probably would have been too afraid of it.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yes, I believe so. Man, and with so many, and here's, do you ever experience writer's block, because with so many, it seems like now, you said there's 50 or so, probably a lot more than that. Do the ideas continue to flow? Do you get writer's block at all? Because it seems like, yeah.
Yeah, I know for a fact for every single book that I have ever written, about 3/4 of the way through, I just think it's terrible every single time. I'm like,
Really?
this is ridiculous. Like, nobody's going to want to read this. What was I thinking? Like, my cousins won't even read this. And then I
Mm.
put it down for like a day or two, or maybe even longer. And I'm like, okay, well, let me do another book. So then I start writing the other book, and I'm like, no, this is worse than the other book. So then I go
Huh.
back to the first book, and then I
Oh,
read it. And of course, some time has passed, and I'm like, oh, this is actually kind of good. Let me finish this thing up, you know? And so I do go back and forth like that pretty much with everything I write.
mm-hmm.
And so at some point you kind of go, yeah, this is my process. You kind of go, yeah, I
Yeah.
always stuck around this point, and all my characters are stuck in stuff that I don't know how to get them out of. That generally kind of happens when I'm writing, except when I do good, strong outlines. But even still, stuff can happen. But
Yes.
at this point, after writing so many books, I'm actually seeing a shift in my writing from fiction to nonfiction.
Hmm.
And so the fiction that I'm coming out with in the next several months is actually stuff that I've done with other people.
I see.
So it's been kind of neat to go, okay, I have done this enough times. Let me see who I can partner with so that, you know, we can kind of get their name out and get them
Oh,
going, because,
nice.
you know, at some point you gotta give it up to the next generation.
Yes. Well, I don't know. I think you still have a lot in you that it's, but
Well,
it's
you know,
so
I still
good when
come
you're
up with
able to.
ideas,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but you just don't have enough time to write fiction and nonfiction. And like I
Yeah.
said, I have a job now that I didn't have before. And even
Yeah.
when I didn't have a job, I was playing around half the time anyway.
Yeah.
When
Wow.
I write, I'm writing. Like you would, for as much as I published in the 11 years or so that I was just writing, um,
Yes.
to a lot of people, they feel like, oh my goodness, that was a lot. But I'm a really quick writer. I probably could have done
Huh.
twice that. I just was watching Judge Mathis and stuff.
Okay. Yes. Okay. That I cannot write at home because I'm too busy looking at TV and wondering what I could clean up next. So
Okay.
there's my problem.
Yeah, I was just eating. It got to a point where I was putting on about 10 or 15 pounds with every book. And then between
Yes.
books, I would lose weight. So,
Wow.
thankfully I had a break between books, because if I wouldn't have had that break, I don't know.
Wow. Oh no. It was part of the process, huh?
It was. It was like when I was thinking, I was like eating, like, what is she going to do? Oh my God, I should go get some Doritos, and I would just eat.
Yes. Oh my.
So
It
yeah, I had to stop
happens.
between books so I could lose weight.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I didn't lose it every time.
So you just add it to the next book.
Right. That's
Oh
what I
no.
did.
Wow. Now, do you ever have you ever gone back? Because part of my journaling is I know a part of what I've done so far as an adult. I never journaled as a kid. I didn't even have a diary, I don't believe. But
Mm-hmm.
now I go back and read some of the things I wrote early in my journaling process, and it's just profound how
Mm-hmm.
it's almost, how I wrote down things that I'm seeing unfold today. It's just
Yeah.
it's just amazing. Have you ever gone back and like read maybe your very first journal and really looked at that and processed that?
And this is going to sound like the worst thing you can do, but I actually got rid of,
Ah,
probably from 86 to about 2000, I got rid of the first chunk of my journals. And I will tell
oh,
you why.
okay.
Because here's the thing, I was like 12, 13 when I started keeping this journal. So I was like totally in
Okay.
love with about 5 different people, like in
Of
that,
course.
like you just knew you were going to marry this person. And when I would go back and read those journals, it took me to a place spiritually where I didn't need to be.
Yeah,
And
okay.
there was a lot of anger. My mother had a car accident when I was 12, and I was suddenly the mom of the family. There's just a lot of hurt
Mm,
and anger and pain and foolishness.
yes.
And so I remember around 2007, 2008, in my prayer life, the Lord just began to talk to me about those journals and kind of where it was taking me every time I would read them,
Mm,
which was not a place I wanted to go. And I
right.
finally, and I knew in my spirit that I needed to just get rid of them.
Yeah.
And I was like, why are you asking me to get rid of my journals? Other people don't get rid of their journals. Nobody who does that.
You're
Like, who
right.
gets rid of their
Mm,
whole past? And the Lord was just like, well, I don't remember. That is a record of your sin and foolishness. And I don't remember it. You want to remember.
Yes.
And I was like, well, if you can forget it, if you have decided to put it as far as the east is from the west,
Right.
then I think I want to do what you do. And it really was a record of sin and foolishness. And there was just no need for me. Now, I'm not saying
Hang
everybody
on.
needs to do that, but I'm just saying where this is where it was taking me back to a place. So when I was mad at my husband, I would go read this journal and fall back in love with somebody else who's like already married with kids.
Yes.
So I didn't need to do that. Michelle Stimpson didn't need to keep her journal.
Yes. Okay. That I understand. And I believe God said, okay, I'm writing a new chapter in your life. And so we're going to put that behind that. Yes.
Yeah. I took
for that reason, I say yes.
And I literally kissed them because they told me what day they shred. I wanted to be there when they shredded because like, I need to see this go through the shredder with my own eyes. I don't want to be, that's Michelle Stimpson. Let's get her diary, you know?
Right. Oh, yes.
So yeah, I went there, I kissed them, and I watched them be inserted into the thing. I took out some pictures, family pictures and stuff like that. But all those, the necklace that somebody gave me from my, the boyfriend, I had to just get rid of it because my mind has such a huge imagination.
Right.
And it's so vivid. Even when I write romance, and I write a lot of romance, I have to be careful that I don't fall in love with the character.
That's true. Wow. I never thought of that. Wow.
I remember telling my husband one time, like, why can't you be more like so-and-so? He was like, he do whatever you want him to do. It's your character.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I really have to be protective of my spirit. And
yes.
I don't know. I can't speak for other people.
Yes.
That's Michelle Stimpson.
That's true. And sometimes Satan will take, some of the things that he knows that we're weak in or whatever he can use.
Exactly.
And you'll just go in a direction that you're thinking, how did I get here? I don't understand this. But
I'm dreaming about people. I'm like,
right.
What? Girl, I can't. I was like, I got to let this go.
Yes.
And it took me a while. It took about 3 years for me to finally agree with the Lord.
My. Yes. Yeah.
And sometimes when I agree, I don't like my mind doesn't agree.
Yes.
So I just have to like put my little finger on my chin and be like, yes, Lord, I agree.
Lord.
Whatever you say this right. And I have not missed those diaries. I have not. I absolutely have not missed them. Good.
Well, you know what? That's a great segue into what you're currently doing, and that's with the warrior wives. So tell me about that because I'm wondering too. I know you'll get into this. What is going on with marriages? What's happening? I don't know. It's not like back in the day, the Leave It to Beaver family, where there's mom and dad and kids. It seems like people are pulling more and more away from the commitment of marriage. So tell us about this that you've started, and tell us a little bit about that.
So Warrior Wives is a labor of love for me. I just have, and I'll say two things. I love ministering to wives, but I run from it. Because it's such a heartfelt, it takes a lot out of me at some level to minister to wives. And selfishly, I haven't wanted to give. I'm very comfortable with fiction and telling stories and making people laugh.
Right.
That to me is not as intimate as the ministry to a hurting wife, to a wife whose husband has had an affair, to a wife who's still secretly in love with her ex. Like all of that is so deep. And at one point, and for many years, I shouldn't say it wasn't just at one point, I just was like, Lord, I'm not the right person for that. Like I can't be taking on other people's problems. Like that's heavy to me.
Yes.
But he has taught me that I'm not supposed to be like carrying people's burdens. I'm supposed to like carry them to Jesus.
Yeah,
like,
right.
You carry a burden, but it's not for me to take your burden onto my shoulders because I can't even hold on to my stuff.
Gosh.
Yeah. And so it is something that I have run from for many years. I'm ashamed to admit, but it's like the Lord he's like, well, I haven't changed my mind. So run if you want to.
Right.
When you get finished running and tired,
I'll bring you right on back and sit you down.
So Warrior Wives has, in my mind, it has morphed even from just kind of a passive website to where like if people find, they find. If they don't, they don't. now it's moving into a membership website where people subscribe to it.
Mm-hmm.
And every month we're meeting, kind of behind closed doors, because I've been doing stuff kind of on Facebook, and people don't want to put all their business out on
Yeah,
Facebook.
yeah.
And I don't allow people to throw their husbands under the bus and all that kind of stuff. So if you really want to get private with people, then you got to go kind of behind closed doors and
True.
hold private forums, as private as things can be, and still be on the internet.
True.
And so anyway, that's what I'm coming up with. That's what the Lord has called me to do, is to minister to wives. And it's
Yeah.
not like, a conference that you go to once every, twice a year or whatever. It is that ongoing monthly, let's get together and have a webinar. Here's a focus for the month. Here's the scriptures we're going to look at. Here's a podcast for you to listen to this month. I mean, just keeping in touch with wives, because a lot of us don't have anybody that we can look to. And as you said,
No.
we're kind of in a generation where people are afraid to be married for a lot of
Yeah.
different reasons, very valid reasons. People have watched their parents suffer through crazy marriages.
Yes.
People have been in crazy marriages.
Yes.
And so, the enemy has always been anti-marriage, since the
Mm-hmm.
first couples. It's always been the same old divide and conquer routine. That's like his whole plan.
Yes.
So, but I do think that particularly in the African American community, there's just a lot of historic, traumatic.
Yeah.
We just have a history.
Yes.
Particularly, like I said, as African Americans, there's just a lot of stuff that we need to overcome, just in terms of healing as a people.
Yes, that's
That
true.
impacts our marriages and impacts our family. And a lot of what we've thought of is our culture is actually the remnants of all the unhealed trauma. So
Mm-hmm.
these are things that I'm working with wives to understand, even as we are already married. And I work a lot with wives who are in troubled marriages or in a troubled season in their marriage, because you don't necessarily find that help in
Yeah.
church. And even
But
if you
yes.
found it in the church, you wouldn't necessarily want to expose it, because then
Right.
like, you be done forgave your husband, but they be still
That is
talking about
true. That is true. Even in
and so
families, you got to be
yeah.
careful what you.
And
Yeah.
your family, because your family loves you. And my
Yes.
daughter is 23 years old, and she had this boyfriend, and she told me something. I was like, well, next time I see,
Right.
and they're like over it, and I'm still looking at him out the side eye,
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
because that's my
Oh,
baby.
of course. Yeah.
So
Wow.
it's a safe space for wives to learn from one another. I mean, the Bible says in Titus 2 that the older wives should be teaching the younger wives how to be wives.
Yes.
I don't think I'm necessarily old, but I'm older than somebody.
Yeah.
I've been married 25 years, and
Wow.
I have something that I can share. We all
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
yeah. So
Yes. Wow. You are truly a warrior yourself. So,
yes, prayer is like
wow.
all up in there too. Like
Ah,
I don't
it's
know
needed.
how people make it without. I don't know
Yeah.
how I made it without. It was just the grace of God.
That, exactly.
Somebody else praying, but like I said, I ain't got nobody
Mhm.
left in my line. It's me now.
It's you. Oh gosh, and you're carrying the torch and on beyond your family and to others. So
Mhm.
it's needed, and you just don't hear of that anymore. And so it is so wonderful that you are doing that,
Yes,
because
God.
we want to stand firm, and we want to stand with, in the marriage that God has ordained for us to be in. So,
Yeah. And that's the
oh
funny thing too. I know for a fact, and I've been married 25 years, and my husband and I were just talking about this. I know for a fact we didn't have no business getting married when we did.
yeah.
Like, and I think people feel like because they shouldn't have married, that's
Mm,
automatically that they shouldn't stay married. I mean, I
that's
don't really
true.
know a whole lot of people who look back and go, that was the best thing I ever did. There's some people who feel that way.
Yes.
Bless their hearts.
Right.
God bless them.
I don't
But
know
if
those
I had
people.
it to do again, and it was up to me, I wouldn't marry before you turn 30, if you ask me.
Y-
But I'm just saying.
Yes.
So that's not thus saith the Lord. That's just thus saith
Uh,
Mashiach. But here's what I have learned, that it is what God allowed. It might not have
yes.
been his perfect will, but it is what he allowed. And
Yes.
so at some point, the Lord just came in and he tore our whole marriage down and
Mm,
because there was really, I mean, it's not, we didn't need a renovation.
yes.
Sometimes when something is so jacked, it needs to be towed down. And
Yes.
that is what he did. And thankfully, he rebuilt it with the same two people.
Well, thank you, Lord.
That's what he
Thank you, Lord. It's good to see you all stand. That's so
did.
good.
God is good. He's good. No matter what happens in your marriage, God is still going to be good.
That's right. That's right. Wow. Well, as I said before, you stay busy with everything. Now, tell me this: are you doing everything that you have ever wanted to do? Do you think that you still have a bucket list that you think I would really love to do this, and you've not done it yet?
You know what's funny? Like, I think I've pretty much done everything I want to do
Yeah.
for myself. All of my
Wow.
future things are like, this is what I want to do with the grandbaby.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
I
Yeah.
still have a dream house that I want, but the house I'm in now is the dream house I had for like 15 years, like the
Wow.
exact floor plan and everything, because they were building these houses. A friend of mine, her parents had bought this house in a different city. And
Mm.
I was 16 years old, I went over there and visited her house. I was like, this is the kind of house I want to have when I grow up. And all the way through college, I was like, well, I can't drop out because I want that house.
Mm-hmm. That was your motivation, huh?
Right. And then after my husband and I married, we were looking for houses. We were looking here and there. And then she said, well, we have a house over here in this area. I had never heard of the city. And when we got here,
Huh.
it was the exact house. Like they had been building the houses in these two different subdivisions. And so
Wow.
it is the house that I wanted when I was 16 years old. So God
Wow.
is just good. And so I have another one in the back of my mind that I'm just like,
Okay.
okay, I have this vision
Mhm.
for it, but my husband ain't trying to hear that.
Oh.
No, we can stay right here. So I
Okay.
might not, I don't know what's gonna happen on that thing. But as far as myself, the things, the even the spiritual things that I've wanted, God
Yeah.
has just fulfilled those things. And so now
Wow.
it's my dreams aren't necessarily for me personally per se,
Yeah.
but they
Yes.
are for the next generation. What I want to see in my daughter, what I want to see in my son and my grandchildren. Just have
Yes.
one at this point, but
Mm.
even what I want to see with the other authors that I work with, and
Yeah.
I'm honored and glad to be in that position, because even though I'm back working, which I love working with teachers, there's a
Yes.
part of me that before I quit working and wrote full time, that was always kind of like, I can't wait for the day I quit this job and write full
Right.
time. And now
Right.
that I've done that, I don't go to work with that in the back of my mind thinking, can't wait to, take
Yeah.
this job, I just don't have that in the back of my mind anymore. And it's freeing, because even though I am working, if somebody comes in here and just starts straight tripping, I just
Mm-hmm.
leave. Go back to writing full time. Like, I don't
Wow.
feel
That
tethered one
that
way or the
yeah.
other. And so it's a blessing in that even though I am back working, I'm working because I want to work, and God
Oh.
opened that door. I just feel good. It's good
Oh,
feeling.
wow.
And God is just faithful to his word. A lot of the stuff, like you said earlier, about going back to that journal and looking at the
Mm-hmm.
diary, there's so much stuff that has happened that has
Yes.
just lined up to the things that I asked God for. And he's just
Wow.
been faithful. I can't even say that I've been faithful.
Right, right. Yeah, me either. So, oh wow. That's that inspires me. I
Oh,
love
bless
that
God.
because yeah, that's where I'm trying to get to. I'm finally at that age where I'm just kind of getting settled in my mind, and God is opening doors,
Mm-hmm.
and now I'm at that gratefulness point that my heart is just full because it's
Yeah.
just so much that people want to do. We have aspiring, like I said earlier, aspiring writers and
Mm-hmm.
people who are trying to branch out and just seem like it's like such a long journey. But
Yeah.
it will happen. It will happen. And
Yeah. Yeah.
you have shown us that it's possible. Anything is possible.
Yeah. I think you
Yeah.
really have to decide not to listen to the people who would say otherwise.
Yes. Yes.
And I thank God for that, because before I wrote my first novel, I didn't know any other authors. I was not in a writer's group. I had
No.
just been trained from writing those diaries, 700 pages worth of diaries. You do what
Gosh.
you're trained.
Yeah.
I'm in my diary, I'm like, and I said, and then he said, and I turned around and told him, like, all of that is how I ended up writing those books, right? So I was trained in some way, and I did have an English degree, but that's not what makes you a writer. It's writing and presenting.
Right. Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, all that to say, it wasn't until I was already published that I started going to conferences and meeting other writers and going to critique groups and that kind of stuff. And I
Yeah.
was around these great writers who, like, to me, they were like amazing writers. And had I been around that before and heard their sad stories about how they had
Yeah.
um, submitted to a publisher and they got a rejection letter, it would not have occurred to me that I
Yes.
should be trying. And so
Exactly.
the same thing happened. My co-author, CaSandra McLaughlin, and I, we made a movie. Like, nobody
Yeah.
told us we couldn't do it, so we just did it.
Wow. You
And it's
didn't
just
know any other way, so.
right. And I'm thankful for that. I think God knows that I
Wow.
cannot take a whole bunch of discouragement. Maybe I'm just not a big girl enough for that yet. And so he
Yeah.
just kind of insulates me. And I don't ask a lot of people for their opinions about what I ought to do. I just do it. And
Yes.
that's just how it's going to be.
I love it. I
I made
love
this
it.
one.
So tell us, what do you have coming up? Tell us what you have coming up and tell us how we can find you on
Yeah.
social media, on your website. Tell us, because
All right.
yeah, for those who don't know, please, please, Michelle Stimpson is the real deal.
Oh,
So
thank
yes, please.
All right. So let me see. What am I working on right now? I just finished the first book in a 3-book series. It's a romance with an author named Gina Phillips Johnson.
Hmm.
And she is coming out. She's done some anthologies here and there, but this is kind of her first time doing some
Ah,
stuff by herself. So that's going to be cool and fun to see that
yeah.
happen. Michelle Lindo Rice and I have been playing around for about a year now on a Washington playground because we started it about a year ago, and then I had some deaths in my family and different
Mm.
things happened, and so we kind of put it on the back burner. But we're going to get back to that, like, for real, for real. The movie that CaSandra and I made is currently being shopped around, so we're prayerful
Yay.
about that. CaSandra and I we just finished 2 books in a 3-book series, so we'll finish that 3rd book later on this year. And I'm getting
Wow.
like lazy. Like, I totally am co-authoring just about everything because now I'm just like, I don't even think I can write a book by myself no more.
Goodness.
And then, of course, warriorwives.club. I'm working out all the little details and such like that, but I'm looking forward to sharing even more on that website with wives because we need that encouragement. We
Yes.
definitely need the encouragement.
Yes, for sure. Wow. 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 Amazing. I just want to thank you again. I'm just, my heart's full now because I'm just so honored. I'm just so honored to have you and just to be able to talk to you. Just you're just such a wealth of information, and you know I feel the God in you, and it's what draws me to people. I feel their spirit, and it blesses me so. And so
Oh,
you're
thank
just a
you.
blessing to everyone you know. Just know that everything that you are doing is God felt, and
Thank you.
I just appreciate you. I just
Well, thank
appreciate you and love you.
Well, thank you. Well, I forgot to tell y'all where we can connect.
Yes, do it,
Um,
please. Yeah.
MichelleStimpson.com, MichelleStimpson.com, and that's where I've got information about Warrior Wives. If you want to schedule a consultation with me, I'm you know what, I had to just get to a point where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna have to just let people start booking and paying and
Yeah.
calling me. People
Yeah.
want to sew into you. They just don't know what your calendar looks like. They don't, they just don't know
True.
sometimes. And so I had to kind of get over myself and go, let me just make myself available
Yes.
in a very organized way. And so that's on my website, MichelleStimpson.com.
Good.
And if you just want to be encouraged, I mean, every now and then I'll just write a book, just put it out there. Like, I wrote a book around New Year's about how I lost 50 pounds. So
Yes.
every now and then I just throw something out, like,
Oh,
here's something that I've been learning. I'm just gonna write a book about it. Like, I just that's just how I roll. So
wow. Well, yeah, that was good. Boy, we need you on every on every subject
on
because
every
we need
hand.
you. Yeah.
That is cute.
Yes. Well, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you again. And yes, I'm gonna be watching you religiously, as they say,
Thank you. I
because I
appreciate it.
want to be like you when I grow up.
Oh,
So
that's too cute. Thank you. I appreciate it. We're gonna both be like Jesus when we get
that's right. All right. We're going to be led of him. Well, thank you again, and
all
we look forward to the wonderful things that you're doing in the future.
right. All
Yes.
right. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Night night.
Bye-bye.